A new report claims that the State Department, listen to this, used taxpayer dollars, your money, to fund therapy sessions to help employees cope after Trump's win. These are federal employees. And California Congressman Darrell Issa is demanding a private briefing by the end of today on the alleged sessions. He wants answers on how much money they cost the department, how many took place. Have these types of therapy sessions for employees ever taken place before? And if so, what events prompted them? Writing in a scathing letter to Secretary Blinken, quote, "I am concerned that the department is catering to federal employees who are personally devastated by the normal functioning of American democracy through the provision of government-funded mental health counseling because Kamala Harris was not elected president of the United States." He continues, quote, "It is disturbing that ostensibly nonpartisan government officials would suffer a personal meltdown over the results of a free and fair election. It is unacceptable that the department accommodates this behavior and subsidizes it with taxpayer dollars." You know, Todd, I immediately thought of my time in college campuses where kids are given emotional support animals during exam time. Mm-hmm. Only difference, these are foreign service officers of the United States. How do they handle foreign adversaries if they can't handle democracy?
That's the question. And I love every part of Issa's letter except for the following: ostensibly nonpartisan government officials. Issa knows that he's being tongue-in-cheek with that. He's getting cute with the language because 92.4% of the individuals in D.C. voted for one Kamala Harris. They're scared for their jobs because every part of D.C., regardless of whether it's a Republican or Democrat administration, is Democrat. I mean, everybody who works in those government offices is by and large a Democrat. They know Trump and Doge are coming after them. They're going to lose their jobs if they don't toe the company line, which is being nonpartisan, which is what you're supposed to be in the first place.
D.C., one of two areas in the country that did not trend right, proving your point. Dagan, this part struck me too. This is a Free Beacon. Great reporting on their part. They say sources described one informal meeting held for Near Eastern Affairs Bureau staffers as a cry session over Trump's win. An agency-wide email also touted an insightful webinar where we delve into effective stress management techniques to help you navigate these challenging times. This is taxpayer money, and they're crying over Trump.
These are the same type of people who won't go back into the office. Not one out of 24 agencies in one quarter last year had even half of the staff back in federal office buildings. Not one. So you're asking to lose your job, quite frankly. But I do see the need in this if it alleviates the pain that friends and family members experience because these individuals have to basically find their therapy by attacking and yelling at people close to them, which I personally have experienced, like, you know, getting phone calls and getting screamed at about mass deportations.
Yeah, Tammy, it's bigger than one agency. The Free Beacon also reports this, that the short answer is we won't change that because those are one of our core values. We're not going to sell out those values to anyone. We're not going to be bullied changing them. It goes on. But look, the part I was trying to highlight on that screen was one U.S. official with knowledge of the session said that during the Biden-Harris term in office, there have been an overemphasis on people's feelings, often with a college campus-like fervor.
Yeah.
This is the federal government.
It's the federal government. And you can imagine how appealing this is to foreign agents in the country. That you've got foreign our own foreign service workers who are vulnerable, who are crying during the day, because they hate who became president. They hate what the country is doing. Suddenly they become, I think, a more viable mark if you want to get somebody who's unhappy. But I really like Issa asking what materials were used in these sessions and what was the agenda, because they're not talking about trying to get over something. They're organizing. That's what I contend. Having come from the left, you get people together and there's a gathering of trying to understand what your feelings are. It's always about organizing, how to get back at people, how to make something as you want it to be. It is not about coping. It is about how to resist. This is why I love this. What materials were used? What was the agenda? Are you doing this overseas? That kind of stuff. And that's what we're going to find out. It's going to be very, very educational.
Emily, what kills me is what we don't know, because we know the State Department cry sessions We know from 3 weeks ago, FEMA official was skipping over Trump houses. What don't we know that happens in this vast bureaucracy?
Totally. January 20th cannot come fast enough, first of all. I also want to say that if we get an answer, and if the answer is, no, it was free and it was voluntary, I want you all to remember that you paid for it anyway. Because anyone that went to that meeting, you were paying their salary. Yes. And you were paying for any materials that were used. And did they take leave for it? We have baked into our system appropriate leave that if someone is suffering a mental issue and needs to remove themselves from work, that's what leave is for. So just know that you are paying for this no matter what, and the cost is in the billions, as we learn every day from Open the Books and now Doge moving forward. And remember that, trash rolls downhill. So remember how the reports that Kamala Harris, upon receiving an intelligence community report, instead of focusing on the substantive issue, she focused on how someone phrased or referred to a female foreign leader. Remember that? That was her takeaway. Right. So here, everything is based on feelings and no base on actions. Again, everything's going to change, however, come January 20th. And so until then, I'll be toasting to liberal tears.
Trash rolls downhill is a Dagan line. You stole that from Dagan.
Yes, that's a good line.
Feels
no, I didn't want to say the word crap, and so I was replacing it with what I felt was a better word.
If they cry over democracy, I'd love to know if these guys cry in front of Russian operatives or Iranian operatives. Well,